Welcome. Today's venue is Wall, South Dakota. Now, Wall, South Dakota became famous because of Wall Drug right here. Established in 1931. Now, the owner of Wall Drug, he did a marketing campaign all the way up and down South Dakota Highway, putting signs up. Here, I'll show you a few. We are now driving east and within 93 miles of Wall Drug, and we have seen our first billboard for Wall Drug. In total, there are around 250 billboards for Wall Drug in South Dakota, an additional 30 in Minnesota, and 20 in Wyoming. Right now, we are driving along the outskirts of the Black Hills National Forest. We just left Deadwood, South Dakota, and the Rapid City turnoff to Mount Rushmore. If Mount Rushmore is your destination, you turn off a 40-minute drive off of Highway 90 here. This is Highway 90 in South Dakota. It runs the full length of South Dakota, 412 miles or 664 kilometers. It's a 6 to 7 hour drive. For those who have driven it before, you know it's a long flat drive that can feel desolate as you drive through farmlands. However, thank goodness for the Wall Drug billboard signs, as they provide you with entertainment to distract you from the long drive. Many of these billboards play on the western motif. This area is considered the High Plains. This is where Native Americans prospered, as there were bison herds as far as you could see in these fields. Then came commercial bison hunters, driving the bison to near extinction. The first two Wall Drug billboards put up at the same time were, "Get a soda, get a root beer." The other billboard read, "Free ice water." When the first two signs were put up in the 1930s, before the owner of Wall Drug could get back to his store, he had his first customer from the signs. Now, as mentioned, Wall Drug opened up in 1931. This was during the Great Depression. So to survive, they had to come up with a very successful marketing campaign. The billboards did become successful for the business. Now, this has been to the extent that people throughout the years have been creating their own signs all across the planet, noting the distance to Wall Drug. Now, those signs, free ice water, homemade pies, drew people in on that long highway of all farmland. So people would visit here, and it became popular that way. And you can buy bumper stickers here. So if you see people with Wall Drug bumper stickers, this is where they come from. Let's giddy up and check the inside out. It's cold out here. apparently they also have a traveler's chapel in here. Let's take a look at that.
Zoltar will give you a wealth of wisdom.
That's the largest petrified wood I've ever seen. Pretty cool. Still pretty cold out too.